Alright. Hey guys, Echo here. This is going to be a replay coaching session for a 4.8k Void player. He didn't want to do a person-to-person coaching session, so this is just going to be a replay analysis. It'll be pretty standard like my usual videos, except I will do all the talking. So if you don't like those kinds of things, then fuck off. Go do something else. Just playing. You can continue watching. It's cool. Alright, so we're going to start out with just looking at items and all that. Okay, we're Faceless Void in this game. Mr. LUL here. I wonder if that's a meme or something. Okay. So we're Void against a bunch of pretty mobile heroes, so this is actually a pretty good Void game. It can be kind of tricky to play Void against Storm and Morph, just because it can be hard to pin them down. But if you actually do land a Chrono, he's a great hero against him. I'd say on paper, he's actually bad against him, but papercraft doesn't matter in this case. Okay. Unless you pair it with like something like a Skywrath who can silence first, then it's really good. Okay, so there's also a Sardar and Invoker. Okay. So the first thing I want to look at is your item builds. The Manta Diffuser build is actually pretty good in a lot of cases, but my problem with it is you can't farm very well with it, and you definitely won't scale. And that's okay if you have a lot of damage on your team that is ranged and can be used while enemy heroes are chronoed. All right, that was like the longest sentence I've ever spoken with like the least amount of substance. All right. So basically, Manta Diffusal is great, but you're kind of reliant on your team and hitting really good chronos and always being in the right position. So it's okay. I'd say it's really good for solo killing people, but the problem is it can be tricky to farm these two items if you don't get a Vlad's or something like that. I find you have to go back to base a lot. Maybe that's just me, but who knows? I guess a better Void player would know. But overall, I do like the builds. I would personally go for a Vlad's in this game, just because you have a lot of heroes in your team who can benefit from it. Specifically, DK and Clinks. Abaddon can too, to an extent, but he's a support, so it doesn't matter so much. But yeah, Vlad's was just great this game because they have so much armor shred with Invoker and Slardar. They have a lot of physical damage as well with Storm, Morphling, and not to mention, Invoker and Slardar as well. So I would have gone that personally, but this is probably fine. Yeah. Okay. Additionally, Blink Dagger might have suited you pretty well this game. It's tough to say because then you guys would be lacking on damage a little bit. You still have like Skywrath who does a lot of damage, assuming he keeps up in levels, which it looks like he did to an extent. And you still have Clinks and DK who can do more than enough damage, but sometimes having an extra core is really nice. So if you go Blink, you'd have to really trust your teammates. You definitely want to go Vlad's into Blink or something similar. You don't want to just go all in on chronosphere setups. So this is all good. One thing about the Manta Diffusal build, though, is like I find it specifically good against heroes with low mana pools who are also very mana dependent. So heroes like Wraith King or Kunkka, those come to mind. Sardar is also a good one, actually. It's probably really good against him. Might be good against Morphling. I haven't actually tested it, but I believe he has pretty low base int. But he does buy a lot of mana items and Lincolns and, Aquila, Treads, and all that. So maybe it's really good against him, actually. That could be it. It's okay. I mean, it's okay against Storm because any kind of mana shred is good, but he also buys a Bloodstone, so you'd have to get a lot of attacks off with your illusions in order for it to like actually drain his mana a lot. Which you can get those kind of attacks off during a chronosphere, like during 6 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever the fuck it is. So yeah. All right, why don't we jump into the game? Love that loading screen. Artdrim is really fucking good at what he does. Okay. I see we're going with a nice double stout shield build. No, okay, good. Yeah, I'm not sure if I said it already, but this is a 4.8k game, so you can expect some pretty high level stuff. And in comparison to my usual videos anyway. Okay, it looks like support pooled US entry, which is very helpful. You can block an important camp. You went for Tangos and a stout shield. I think honestly, if you're going for this build, this is fine. You can definitely do this against these heroes, but you should just get 2 Fairy Fires as well, in my opinion, if you're going to go for this. You do something like a Stout Shield, Tango Salve, or 2 Tangos. Either one is fine, and 2 Fairy Fires. I think they benefit you quite a lot, and as a hero who can trade a lot. And they don't really have a support in this game that's actually going to do stuff. They have like Pudge, who's clearly a support, and a Jungle Sardar. Is it a Storm Spirit support? Not really sure. I'm assuming it's support Pudge, jungle Sardar, something like that. Offlane Sardar, storm support. Who knows? This is really weird. But point is, they don't have a great support who can harass you out of lane. Storm is probably the best one actually, but yeah. So if you have more damage and the extra Fairy Fire HP, it can be very helpful. Or it is very helpful, not can be. Okay, so you start off by running to the usual ward spot, which is very standard. I mean, it's actually not standard nowadays, so what am I saying? But okay. My problem with this is nobody scouted, so they would see that you're here, but it wouldn't really matter too much. It's pretty obvious you're going top lane, and it's pretty obvious, or it's fairly likely that you're going to ward something. Okay, if you're going to ward this camp, I think it's usually best to place it like right here. It just takes them longer to get it. You can also do this one, but it makes less sense because this is usually a common sentry spot. So, like for the enemy team to deward. So I would just place it here next time. You have the time, so you can just place it. The problem with placing it here is it's very obvious. Like all the enemy team has to do is put a sentry here and be somewhere around this area, and they'll see it right away. Whereas if it's in here, it takes them a little bit longer. Maybe you get an extra block or something like that. Okay, then you run down. It's totally fine. Okay, that was ambitious. Okay, you're dead. Yeah. Oh, that's kind of what you get. So let's look at your approach to this. If you're gonna do this, you might as well just run, honestly. Like your approach to you would have been fine actually if you just ran to this, assuming you didn't get hooked, and even then you would be fine because you can just time walk away. Yeah, as Void, you very rarely want to time walk to initiate early on, and that's not just like initiating a fight; it's initiating anything like going for a CS or going to harass like support that's pulling, something like that. That's pretty much never a thing. You'll never time walk at them to close distance or whatever, unless you're going for a kill. So that was a fundamental mistake. Okay, the good news is you got the bounty rune, but that's never worth it. So you start with the Quelling Blade and a TP scroll, that's fine. Luckily you don't miss any CS top lane. You should be getting like probably, I would say bare minimum against a Pudge Morphling lane should be like 45 CS at 10 minutes. This should be a really free lane for you. Yep, you're doing a great job of kiting Pudge. Okay. You also pulled the wave back at the start, which is great. I didn't see if you clicked on Morphling or not, but you should, just to see what he has. Same with Pudge. You'll see Pudge has no Stout Shield, so it's really hard for him to trade with you, especially since you know he has Hook. He has all Burst, so he can't really trade with you that well. So honestly, right now, while you're kiting this, you should just be waiting for Pudge to be here. Then you should go for him. Okay, so see this play that you did right now was really good because this gave you enough time to go for the CS and then also harass the Pudge afterward, but you didn't harass the Pudge. So when you kited around this, you see this creep is dying. That's great. Now you can go for the last hit and then start hitting Pudge. You should start beating the shit out of him. That or Morphling, either one. You definitely don't back up here. You have a very distinct creep advantage, so you want to go in at this time. Okay. 1 second. Okay, great. So yeah, that was a pretty big mistake. That was a good opportunity to burn some regen. You're still going to free farm, but yeah, it's totally fine. Okay, you did it again here. You definitely, if you're in a position where you have this many creeps, you want to go for CS, like prioritize those, but get ready to punish stuff like this. Like this creep is not going to die. Like, okay, so let's look at this in slow motion. So this creep is your next target, right? Or most likely anyway. So you go for this last hit. Then the next target after that will be the range creep. And then what's going to happen after that? These creeps will all aggro either Morphling or Pudge. They're going to run towards the enemy tower. So you should be right with them. Like, this is a 1v1 between two creeps here. It's going to last a long time, so you can go back for the CS later. You should be taking this time to make sure this guy can't tank in front of his tower. And just do as much damage to you. Bleh, English. I'm a native English speaker, and I can't speak it. Okay, so you should be punishing this guy while you can. Alright. So here you go to pull, it looks like. You're waiting. I don't like this. Like, you're being really scared in this case when you don't have to be at all. Like, you have nothing to be afraid of. The worst thing that can happen here is you get hooked into tower and then time walk away. Like, so you should be up here just fighting. Like, this Pudge is not strong. Especially if you're continuously pushing and getting a creep advantage. You should definitely, like, if you're that scared, maybe you're scared of somebody in fog or whatever, you should be sitting here instead. Just so, like, you don't have to trade, but you're also in XP range. Okay, so you buy a PMS, great, very helpful. Okay, here's a good opportunity for the aggro trick, yep, good. You should adjust your camera a little bit to be something like this as well. But that's very minor. Okay, you're definitely way too passive on this hero. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to just go for CS like this. Okay. Typically, I don't value boots too much on Void early on. I would just finish your Iron Talon personally, or maybe go Aquila, something like that. Maybe get a Wraith Band and a Wand. I just don't see the value in boots. If you're in a lane where you feel like you need to run away or like chase people really fast, then it's probably better to just go jungle anyway. Okay. This is something you don't want to do in a lot of cases. Don't kill this creep here. Just let it push to your tower. You want the creep wave to be like as far back as you can, or as you can get it. That way Morphling is uncomfortable, and maybe you set up a gank for your support or whatever. Okay. Yeah, you really need to be ready for these kind of situations. So, okay, what's going to happen here? You go for the deny. That's great. This creep is dying. Like, a Morphling is attacking it, so you need to be ready. Like, you need to be seeing that and adjusting your movement to go for the last hit. Or, if you're not going to go for the last hit, then you should be moving up to punish him. Okay, you do it here. Your inputs here are incorrect, though. Okay, so let's watch your cursor once more. Okay, so you go for the deny. That's great. You back up. Okay, creep's dead. Okay. So watch your cursor here, and watch specifically the color of your clicks. Okay, you click next to him, then you right-click the actual Morphling, like you attack command him, and that causes the creep wave to aggro you. What you should do is just run up, move your hero physically, like just by clicking next to him, like in the path that you want to go, and then attack him when you get in range. You never want to just like right-click somebody to get in range. It should always be direct input. Okay, so see, you take a little bit of damage here. It's really not much, especially since you have a PMS, but it does matter. There are a lot of fights that are won and lost with like, 10 HP left or something like that. So you want to avoid taking any kind of damage. For free, anyway. Or I shouldn't say avoid taking damage. You should minimize the amount of damage that you can take for every action. Okay. So you get Gloves of Haste. Personally, I would buy a Band of Elven Skin. Like, it's a little bit higher value, but, I mean, what do I know? I'm sure Gloves is totally fine. As for actually going treads, I think that's fine as well. I personally value Aquila and Wand more, but treads are fine. Not going to flame you for buying them. Okay, this is a good trade. This is something you could have been doing more often, is just like going for trades like this. Your movements were incorrect, though. Okay. So right here, you walk forward, that's fine. You ended up right-clicking him again, which is incorrect, but that's not what I'm talking about. This guy called your bluff, and he read you for when you were going to run back. You should just chase him until he's like basically under tower at this point. Because like, if you turn around, he has the upper hand, because he can just turn and attack you. So what you should do is just chase until you get to like this point here, where you're going to be in attack range. So like he's naturally going to turn around this point, because 5K players know this area, pretty much by heart. They don't know the exact thing, like, but they have a very good idea of what it is. So he's going to turn around right when he feels comfortable, and you'll notice that he actually does that. So like, let's look at the range. Okay, so right here, he almost gets to tower range, then he turns around, because he knows that like if you continue chasing, you're going to get punished. He ends up misplaying a little bit. He should run like actually into tower range, but yeah. So basically, long story short, is you want to chase up until this point if you're in a situation like this where you can't get punished. That way you can punish any kind of like incorrect movements on his part. It might seem like I'm going really crazy on lane mechanics, but this is just a 1v1 lane as Void, so this is really important in this game. It's important that you maximize the amount of gold you can get out of this and minimize the amount of gold Morphling gets. Okay, so now you have Chrono. At this point in time, you should honestly just like wait for Skywrath to get 6, and you guys can just kill the more. Or maybe he can just go. He doesn't have silence, so this is a hard kill. If he gets 4, you guys can kill him actually at this point. I think it'd be pretty easy as long as he doesn't get a morph off. You got treads. Yeah, if you switch to Agi treads, this guy's dead. Guaranteed. You just need the silence. Oh, he's so dead. Holy shit. What the fuck? Okay, this is a definite chrono. You definitely chrono here. Oh, okay. So maybe you have to wait for the silence to chrono, actually, because he starts to morph. Um, yeah, okay, so that's what the mistake was. If Skywrath was 4, and I believe he was here. Oh, no, he wasn't. I thought he leveled up on the side. Okay, so he doesn't have silence, so you definitely don't chrono. I was wrong. Okay, but if Skywrath was level 4, then you would wait for the silence and then chrono. That way he can't shift during it. You guys can just kill him. Also, he didn't have waveform, so you were completely fine. You were in the clear. Okay. Your approach to this is wrong. When you push the carry out of lane and force him to go back to base, you want to push the fuck out of his lane and attract attention up here. Get a support to rotate. Or at least, like, you deny him farm. Do something like that. You definitely want to attract attention as Void, especially if you're ungankable. Like, these guys can't kill you. Not until, like, Pudge is 6, and maybe they need a Sunstrike as well. Or, like, a Storm Spirit gank or something with all that. So you want to continuously push if you're in a position like this. In most cases, anyway. Morphling isn't really one of those heroes that can handle being under pressure under his tower, so especially since he's going fucking Midas. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, definitely push in this case. You want to pressure this guy a lot. Okay. Yeah, this is a good wave to push on too, since you have a catapult and you just killed the enemies. Okay, get a nice bash. Great. And it looks like you are gonna, yeah, you're getting great CS anyway. Could have been a little better, obviously, but this is totally fine. Okay, definitely want to push on this wave. It's very important. Okay, this thing you just did was totally fine because you had Abaddon. It wouldn't be fine if you didn't have a shield, but yeah, this is fine. This guy can't defend the tower anymore, basically, when you do this, so that was good. Now you're gonna get a free tower. Oh, you gotta push. You definitely gotta push here. Just have Abaddon shield you again. Try to keep your catapult alive. It's so important that you pressure this tower right now. Okay, so the catapult's dead, and that like kind of eliminates your pushing power. So that was actually pretty crucial. Since you just push Morphling out of lane, you should just attack this, let the range creeps tank, and then start running back when you're gonna start taking tower damage. Just have Abaddon shield you. You want to make sure this stays alive though, so you just tank the tower until then. Have Abaddon shield and heal you. That's the play in this case. That way you have a catapult creep and a full creep wave, and you can just push this and do a lot of damage to it. Okay. Also, you should have your Aquila on. That would make a pretty big difference. Okay. Yeah, definitely want your Aquila on. This is really, really important. Okay, you get the tower. That's great. Now I'm curious to see what you go for. If you go for Aquila and you plan on going for Vlad's, it's totally fine to disassemble your Aquila and just get the Bessie and keep the Wraithband in your inventory or something. That's completely fine. Or you can just sell it. But yeah, that's what I usually like to do when I play this hero. Okay, definitely need to turn your Aquila on. That's very, very important. This is around the time when you need to start like tracking where people are. So you have a TP on you, that's great. But you need to be looking around and seeing like, okay, are people diving? Who has what item? Does Sardar have Blink yet? Does Invoker have, I don't know, like a Yule's, something like that. But he went Midas, so this is important. That's important information. Also, you need to be noting where Pudge is if you can, where Storm is, what he has for items. If he's going Orchid, that's probably the biggest thing to look for in this game. But it looks like he's going Bloodstone, so you're in the clear there. So while you're pushing this, you should be, looking around and actively trying to assess what's going on in the game, since you don't have anything else to do, really. Okay. Okay, so you back up when Pudge gets here. That's probably fine. You didn't know where anyone else was, so. Alright. Yeah, I don't like your camera work here. As Void, it's really important that you're like constantly shifting and getting the exact position of every hero on your screen, or at least in your minds, especially initiators and like the important heroes in fights. It's also important to see your allies, but yeah, I don't like how you just kept your camera centered while you were running up here. Also, it's totally fine to use Chrono to just kill this Slardar. Like, he's level 7. This wouldn't be bad at all. You can even Chrono the Abaddon if you just shift forward and then Chrono right here. That'd be totally fine. You guys would get a kill on the Slardar, as long as you get the Pudge and the Chrono as well, because otherwise he's going to get hooked out. Okay. Nope, this is wrong. Okay, so you just chunked the Slardar. You got him pretty low, or your team did anyway. You continue pushing this and like staying around top. You're void, so you don't leave top lane unless they force you out, or unless you feel like you're in danger, or unless you're rotating to get a kill. Don't just randomly leave. Like, this entire area is your domain. You should think of yourself like a broodmother almost. This is like the default play. Sometimes there are situations where you need to let your carry farm this, but if that's not happening, then you just farm this and keep pushing and trying to attract attention. You're a split pushing and scaling hero. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's pretty much no situation where you would do this. At least Dragon Knight is pushing top, but yeah. Hell, if anything, I think you should be up here and just fighting with him. Like, you guys are really strong. Like, if you guys would be able to crush these guys if you were up here. Like, this Dragon Knight has what? He has Armlet, treads at 13 minutes. He's pretty strong, and he's level 11. You guys could honestly like dumpster these heroes. You have the damage too. So like, if you were here right now, let's say you were farming this, you know, like this camp or whatever, or the small camp, you were just waiting to bait the Dragon Knight, you could just hit a Chrono right here. This would be amazing. It'd be pretty tough to get a good one at this point, but yeah, you see what I mean. I don't think you should be in a position where like you're farming your jungle as Void pretty much ever. I'd say that was a big mistake. Okay, so you guys are smoking. I'm assuming Skywrath is 6. Yep. Okay, so you can kill any hero in the game now. Morphling is tough if he gets a shift off, but should be fine. Okay. I don't like this. So your pathing didn't make any sense to me. You know there were 4 heroes top, so the timing was a bit off in the first place, but I don't like that you guys went bottom. This just, to me, seems like very obvious. It seems like textbook almost. So you're not going to get any surprise kills with this. The only way you get a kill is if some dumbass TP's down here. Like, okay, if Plinx is pushing this, and everyone else is missing, and they just, you guys just saw 5 heroes top, or 4 heroes top, or whatever, they know that they're top. They know that. This is 5k, they know. So nobody's going to TP down here, unless they're really fucking dumb. In which case, you shouldn't plan for, you know, people being dumb. Okay. So you end up going for Yasha. I'm not a fan, personally, of getting this. I think I would just go Diffusal first. I think that's higher value. Assuming you're going Manta Diffusal and you're stuck on that. So I would get... Personally, I would go Vlad's into Diffusal Manta, but I already talked about that, so... Alright. Alright, so now we're just pushing. There's an invisible hero on top of us, but we don't know that. Okay. Chrono. What? Okay. You needed to just fucking cast your Chrono, dude. Pudge is the anti-Chrono hero on their team. Invoker is like kind of, but much less so, and he has to use Tornado and shit. So if you're ever in a position where you can get Pudge and another core, or another hero in Chrono, you just take it, and you do it, and you kill him. Like, Pudge is the only hero on their team that can like prevent you from getting kills in a lot of cases. So just do it. Just Chrono them right away. Just get the kill, get a pick, push the tower. Don't be afraid. Like, this is not a rare, like, delicacy. This is just a fucking spell. Doesn't matter. You're not going to lose the game if you just Chrono. Even if it's a bad one, like, you're not going to lose the game off of it. Just throw it out. Especially early on like this. And especially if you have a partner that's doing a lot of damage. Like Skywrath made, for example. Okay, that's a Chrono. Please. Please! No, okay. Okay, let's look at the range here. So you shift over, boom, he's in Chrono range. You can easily get him. You don't even have to care about Abaddon, doesn't matter. And you also know Pudge is top right now. So yeah. And Skywrath is like very clearly in range here. Like, let's look at this. If you're keeping good track of where he was this whole time, you'd know he was like very close to being in range. All you need to do is CC him. Okay, so boom, Chronoed. Skywrath would get there like, you know, when he's here. It'd be totally fine. Okay, so that was a mistake. We missed a lot of kills because you're just afraid to use chrono. So we want to improve on that. I'll make sure to cover that at the end as well. Void is all about like initiating when your heroes are in range and just not being afraid to pull the trigger. Excuse me, that's disgusting. All right. I don't think I've ever burped on a video before, but you know, there's a first time for everything. Okay, so let's look at this engagement since I haven't talked about it at all. Okay. So Skywrath dies right away. That means you need to get out. So this was totally fine. I don't have any issues with this. You even get bashed by Rosh, so that sucks, but yeah. And they miss all their skill shots. That's great. You just go back to base. Okay, that's fine. Sun strikes again, alright. Go push bottom. This is totally fine again. As long as you're split pushing some lane, doesn't really matter. I prefer split pushing top personally, but that's just me. I like the extra camps. And I also like attracting attention away from Roshan. Oh, this is a really good turn. Oh, no, dude. Okay. Yeah, the most important thing you specifically need to work on is just fucking using your chrono. Like, just cast it. The cooldown doesn't matter. You miss out on a lot of kills. Like, just getting one kill on a starter is like helpful. That helps the team. It's not like you guys they're gonna immediately, you know, like, shift to Roshan and just force it while you guys don't have chrono or whatever. And it's not like you guys don't have an answer to that. You can just split push top and like continuously push. Like you have DK Clinks. You have some fucking amazing tower pushers. Like the entire game doesn't revolve around your chrono, so just use it right away. Like it's just like any other spell. It's a very common mental block that people have, but don't be afraid. Okay. Okay. I don't think you messed up that. Oh no, it worked out. Okay, cool. You do end up missing the Sardar, so that sucks, but it's okay. You got the Pudge, and you even get a bash on Morph. Okay. Okay. So chrono placement was a bit off, I believe. Yeah, it was a little bit off. It's okay to like chrono the Abaddon. I know you're afraid of that. In a lot of cases, you don't want to, but it's totally fine if it's just a skirmish like this. Don't be afraid to, if you're gonna get an extra hero in it, or an extra important hero anyway, like Sardar. Other than that, that was fine. You just need to use your chrono, so good. Okay, now you guys get a great push going. Should not push against high ground here. Yeah, you should not push. Even taking this path is kind of risky. I would just like back off at this point. Unless you're going for this creep wave, you should just back off because there's a Pudge alive. Okay. You end up running towards mids. I haven't seen if you were tread swapping this whole time. Okay, if you're not tread swapping, you should, and it looks like you weren't. So you definitely need to swap to int when you go to cast spells. Woof, 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 woof. Okay. Chrono's coming up soon, but you don't have the most mana. I'm gonna shut my door. I fucking hate living with dogs so much, guys. Alright, let's go. The little dog is so barking. Anyway. See, you have chrono up here. You have mana to use it if you switch to int treads. Probably not a bad time to fight at all. Actually, it's definitely a good time to fight. You guys are really strong. You can go for it. Okay, going for Roche is ambitious against Pudge. This is game losing. There's like no reason to go for this. If anyone but you gets hooked right now, it's okay. So it ends up working out, but this is really risky. Like I don't think you guys had any clues as to what was going on like around the map. I guess you know that like bottom is relatively safe, or the bottom side is relatively safe because DK is pushing and he's not being ganked. But I don't like this. I think this is too risky. I think you need to wait for another clue. Like Morphling showed top, but like if Skywrath gets hooked here from anywhere, like outside this range, or if Abaddon gets hooked, or if Clinks gets hooked, like you guys are fucked. I wouldn't go for this. It ends up working out, so that's great and all, but yeah. They were just too slow on their scouting. Okay, so you guys end up smoking out. Now is definitely a great time to fight, though. Okay, you end up going towards top. That's completely fine. Typically, yeah, you want to go towards a top tower side. That's like a natural movement progression for the enemy team. They see you do Rosh, okay, they go run up like this and farm this area, maybe push top, something like that. So that's fine. You're not going to catch anyone, but that was a fine movement. It'd be nice if somebody was pushing mid, but that's okay. Okay, now's not a bad time for you guys to go for racks either. Okay, I don't know what that was, but that was weird. It's fine. Okay, you guys are too clumped. Sardo doesn't have blink, so you don't have to worry too much. And I guess Invoker is Exort, but yeah. Typically, you want to spread out a little bit. Like, you have to find a nice balance between spreading out so that you don't get, like, AoE'd by something, and you also don't get too spread out so that you get hooked one by one or whatever. Looks like you end up getting hooked here. Yeah, okay. So this is just like a positioning thing, really. Okay. So there are a few places that you know for sure are, like, pudgeless, so to speak. You know Pudge is nowhere around. Here, let's look at your Dire Fog. Okay. Oh, Radiant rather. Oops. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay. So what do you see when you go up on high ground? You see Slardar right away. You see Morphling. That's great. Two very valuable heroes. You don't see Pudge right now, so you should be vigilant. You shouldn't be standing on the bottom side, because Pudge will either stand here on the bottom side, or he'll stand up here in these trees. So really, your positioning should be something like in between your two cores, you know, up here, where Abaddon is. Abaddon's positioning is great right now, because if he gets hooked, DK and Clinks can immediately capitalize. Whereas you got hooked from all the way on the bottom, so DK has to run all the way over, and Clinks is naturally not on that side anyway. Okay, so this fight, if this doesn't turn into a Rax, it's your fault. Not to flame or anything, but that's just how it is. So you end up getting hooked, end up dying. Let's see how the fight turns out. It shouldn't go that well. Maybe it goes okay, but yeah. Okay. Storm dies, but he has Bloodstone, so he's going to come back soon. Okay. I'd say overall a net loss for you guys, net gain for the enemy team. And that extends the game by quite a lot. That could have been solved very easily by just positioning in between your two cores up here. Just specifically because of this location. If you got hooked here, like worst case scenario, you'd be in here, that's great, you're in there with Pudge. Then Clinks just kills the fuck out of Pudge instantly, pretty much. And DK can turn and go as well. Maybe interrupt Pudge's ult, something like that. But since you got hooked down towards the bottom, and DK was standing here, Clinks was standing here, they have to shift down a lot more distance in order to help you. So you need to keep that stuff in mind, especially when you're playing against a Pudge, or like a Vengeful Spirit or something like that. Okay. So let's move on. So you immediately go bottom. Continue pushing. Gotta be careful, Pudge could gank you here. But you saw him on the ward, so you're fine. Okay. This is not worth it. Okay. This guy is dead. He's already dead right now, so you don't need to chrono. Like, this is one of those points in the game where, like, yes, it's okay to chrono and get the kill, but it's better to save it in this case because he's already dead. He's already gonna die to Clink's Orchid, and you can chase in a little bit, so it's okay. He's not getting away here. I guess he could armlet toggle and he has stick and stuff, but yeah, I'd say you'd be better off just saving it in this case and going for the Invoker. Okay. Or protecting your Clinks. Either one is a good way to put it. Okay. Ends up being totally fine, though, because Clinks has Aegis. Sardar and Pudge die. Now you guys are not in the clear to go push, unfortunately, but you get some pressure at least, which is good. Alright. Now you just need to wait for Chrono, then go for another fight. Okay. So Pudge is in the same spot, you know it. Very easy to counter in this case. Yep, you shifted your positioning, that's great. Oh my god, okay. So he fucked up. His movements were incorrect here. This is really bad. If you're a 5k player, this shouldn't happen again. But I mean, I do understand shit happens, but you definitely don't walk down here. Just be patient. If you feel the need to like constantly shift back and forth, like just do it like in a little tiny space. Don't do it like, okay, I'm gonna shift out of hook range into hook range and just see if he does it. Try to do it in a smaller space. Definitely unacceptable to get hooked here. If Pudge was better, he would have dismembered you and you would just die again, and cycle repeats itself. Luckily your teammate followed up with Orchid and stuff, but yeah. Okay. You guys are gonna get a Rex. Alright. So let's watch one more fight, and then wrap it up, and then I'll recap and stuff. This guy's smoke. You're just pushing bottom. Game is pretty over so far. Oh, Clinks dies. Okay, that sucks. Okay, Sardar just feeds as well. What the fuck? You finish your defusal. Now you got some damage. That's great. Clinks is gonna respawn soon. Okay, now it's go time. I guess you guys could wait for Rosh as well. It's a little boring, but you can do it. Yep, Rosh spawns. Okay. Great stuff. Going bottom racks. Okay, so your positioning bottom should be around the same as your positioning top. Just try to find Pudge at the start and then position on the opposite side. It's harder for your teammates to capitalize if you get hooked into trees on the bottom side compared to top side, so just think about that as well. It is much easier for them to capitalize on the bottom side than it is on, you know, this side though, so okay. Yeah, and you see Pudge, no reason to get hooked here. Okay, your camera positioning is shit. You should know where you're positioned. You shouldn't have to just like look at your hero the whole time. You need to be looking around and clicking on heroes, seeing what items they have, all these things. Like Storm having a BKB is really important. He doesn't have it right now, but if he does, then you know you need to know. You need to know if Invoker has a new item. I don't know, like maybe he buys a sheep or something like that. You need to know these things. Maybe a Sardire's blink. Yeah, and you can't gain that by just looking at your hero. Okay. Yeah, when you're the primary initiator, you cannot look at your hero like this. This is really bad. You need to fix this. Okay. See, like, how do you know where to chrono? Okay. Morph walks into your chrono, holy shit. Okay, you still haven't shifted it at all. Like, how do you know where to chrono if you're looking at your hero the whole time? You're like, Okay, so in American driving school, I don't know like how it is in other countries, or at least in the driving school that I went to, you're taught not to just like stare at the road the whole time. You need to like be looking forward and ahead of you know what's going to happen. You need to be looking like 5 or 10 seconds into the future. I think it was actually like 15. You need to be like looking forward. If you're just looking at the road the whole time, like the road right in front of your car, yeah, you're probably not going to hit anything that's really close or whatever. But you're not going to be prepared to like deal with any future obstacles. Maybe there's a big crash up ahead. You won't know until you're 15 feet, away from it, and then you can't stop in time. So it's the same thing with initiation. Like, yes, if there's anything in your little tiny bubble here, you're gonna know it's there, and you can initiate on it. But anything outside of that, you're not gonna know really. Maybe you can go off audio cues or something, but why make it hard for yourself? Just go, or just look. Don't be lazy with your camera. Okay, so here the game's over pretty much. Okay, so specific things that you need to work on. I'd say the biggest number one thing is just like gathering information, looking around, and then being ready to pull the trigger when it's necessary on chronosphere. Like just go. If you think there's even a remote possibility of you getting a kill, like if you think your team has the damage to do it, or you have the solo damage, just do it right away. The worst thing that can happen is you chronosphere bad, or you make a bad chronosphere, and then maybe like your team gets mad at you or whatever. Boom, then it's over. Then you can just get another one later. It doesn't matter if you get a bad chronosphere. Just try to you need to practice as much as possible, trying to cast good ones or trying to cast ones right away, and that way you don't miss out on opportunities. And you can also learn from the the bad chronospheres that you will inevitably hit. You're gonna make some bad chronospheres. It's gonna happen. Universe hits bad chronos. Like, did you watch Secret Play at all? Like in the last what was it? 6 months before EG reformed? Like, I don't know. Like, don't be afraid to mess up. Just go it. Like, try to make the play. you're an initiator, so you need to go in right away. So that's the biggest thing I think that you should focus on. Other than that, though, your laning was pretty good. Your punish game was a little bit weak, where you were afraid of trading with Pudge when you had like a 6 creep advantage or whatever at the beginning. But other than that, you were a fine laner. So that's good. Yeah, but that's about it for this. Let me know if you have any more questions. The rest of this doesn't matter. Really, this game is over. So yeah, hope this was helpful. Also, if you're interested in signing up for a replay coaching session like this, you can do it at dotacoach.org/ecko. Also, you should follow me on social media, Twitter, at ecko444, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff is in the description as well. So yeah, thanks for watching.